Hi, I'm Miles Benham from Manavia. We're an Isle of Man licensed trust and corporate service provider. We assist people in setting companies up, structures up, and helping them get gaming licenses.
What is gambling?
That's a very good question, actually. Gambling is probably one of the oldest activities going back generations and generations. It's where one person wages against another person. It can be something as simple as who can run faster than the other person. And they wager on it, place a bet, and see who wins.
How would you define good gambling regulation, and would you give some current examples if there are any?
Okay, well, good gambling regulation is regulation that works. So the aim behind regulation is to protect the players. So good regulation should enable a person to play safely in a safe environment. That can be ensuring that they get paid their winnings and that any money they hand over to the operator is safe. So there are a number of good gambling operators. I'm in Malta today at Sigma, and Malta's a good gambling regulator. It has proper regulations in. I'm from the Isle of Man, and in the Isle of Man, we have a good regulator. Your money's safe. If you bet with an operator in the Isle of Man, you'll get paid. So they're the examples of what good gaming regulation is.
Thank you. How can governments profit from liberalizing?
That's a tricky question, really. A lot of people believe that all the jurisdictions should issue licenses. I don't think that's the case. The people living in those jurisdictions have already got access to a lot of the gaming sites as it's internet-based. So it's not necessary that the individual jurisdiction has to open up and allow gambling. It can cause a lot of social problems if they're not careful. And in some ways, it may be better to leave the people themselves to make their own decisions. If they want to go online, let them go online. And as long as they're using other jurisdictions which are safe, then why not let them do what they want? At the end of the day, it's the internet, so why can't a person in any jurisdiction simply go on the internet and purchase services, buy products?
Thank you. There are seemingly thousands of online brands. Do you see a consolidation in the medium-term future?
I think it's inevitable, really. It's like any business. Over time, companies will merge. The best ones will rise to the top, and people will go with those. So I think there's probably a lot because there's so many languages, there's new games, but over time, the best companies will merge, will get taken over, and you will end up with consolidation in the market.
Do you think that the same would happen to game studios as well?
That is occurring. On the Isle of Man, we've seen game studios being merged. So there's a Games Global, which is a merger of a number of game studios. And I think the idea there is that they can get a lot of talent within the organisation and get better returns and better games. So I think that's definitely a way it's going to go, especially with AI. Because in theory, if you're talented and can use AI properly, you could be creating graphics and games yourselves. So if I was a big game studio, I'd be wanting to have the best people possible, and that probably will require me to purchase other companies to get the talent.
Thank you. Can you tell us about the current costs of licenses, both in terms of acquiring them and also maintaining them?
Yes. So probably the easiest one for me to tell you about is the Isle of Man. So I've got my Isle of Man brochure with me. So for an Isle of Man license, they charge you an application fee of £5,250, and then they charge you an annual fee of £36,750. Now, that's a tier 1 license. So that's a jurisdiction where you're going to get banking, it's safe, it's reputable. There are other jurisdictions which we won't count as a tier 1, but you may find you have problems with banking, and other issues, payment issues, or you may find your payments are more expensive. So they can be cheaper than that. The cost of running them, it really depends on the operator themselves, how big they are, what they want doing. If you speak to various corporate service providers like ourselves, you'll find you can get a tailor-made price to indicate what it will actually cost. That's probably the easiest way of doing it. Look at who you are, what you want to achieve, and then you'll get a decent price.
Okay, and how does Isle of Man compares to other jurisdictions in terms of pricing?
Okay, the Isle of Man's not the cheapest jurisdiction, and it's not the most expensive jurisdiction. You effectively pay for what you get. So if you want a very, very cheap jurisdiction, they do exist, but they aren't tier 1. They tend to be jurisdictions are startups or they have very low regulation. If you want a jurisdiction where you're going to get banking, cheaper payment providers, cheaper cost of doing your business, then you tend to go to a tier 1 jurisdiction like Malta, Isle of Man. And so they have a slightly higher cost of the license, but that's because you're paying for the regulator. So clearly the regulator needs to pay the staff, so they charge a certain fee, which in return means you're actually in a real regulated jurisdiction, where you can actually see the regulator, meet the regulator, and talk to the regulator, and that doesn't happen in a lot of places.
What message do you have for those who are considering gaining an Isle of Man license?
Talk to me. Happy to have a chat, and I can talk to you for hours and hours on Isle of Man licenses. I think you need to consider what you want to achieve. Have you already started? Have you got your business going, or you're a complete startup? And I think really then, with these days, we can have video chats, Teams calls, everything. And we're happy to just chat through the process and explain what can be done and what can't be done.
Thank you very much for the interview.
Thank you very much. Nice to see you all. Thank you.